Although the story of the Titanic will forever be a historical milestone of maritime tragedy on a scale never seen before, with the death of about 1,500 people out of more than 2,200 who were on board the ship. Nowadays, the largest cruise ships in the world carry 3 to 4 times that number of people at once. That's the case with Resilient Lady, owned by Virgin Voyage, which can carry between 2,774 and up to 3,102 people, which is very little compared to what the largest cruise ship in the world can carry. The gigantic Star of the Seas can carry up to 7,600 people at once on a 7-day journey across the seas. The modern technology on board these cruise ships is so advanced that the captains and crew know with extreme precision where they are and the route they need to take to get there, where they want to go, regardless of whether it's day or night, whether it's raining or the sea is rough. And given the number of people they currently carry, that question arises. If the same scenario as the Titanic happened today, would a modern ship survive? Well, the Titanic tragedy was caused by a combination of very serious factors, most of them related to human error and design flaws. We can summarize it in 4 main mistakes. The first issue was the ship's excessive speed, which was about 22 knots, that's 41 kilometers per hour, just 2 knots below the ship's maximum speed. The second was neglect. In the various warnings about ice, both the captain and the crew had received multiple iceberg warnings by radio, with reports of an ice field larger than normal and farther south than usual. However, the general belief was that modern ships like the Titanic were invulnerable. At the time, practices prioritized sticking to the schedule over caution. The third mistake was the fragility of the steel used in the ship's hull, and also in the low quality of the rivets used, which were made of wrought iron. These rivets, which joined the hull plates, had a higher amount of slag, which is a contaminant, making them more brittle, especially in the low temperatures of the North Atlantic, with many of them having broken during the collision. And the fourth mistake was the absence of binoculars for the lookout crew, which, combined with the cold that night, contributed significantly to them not spotting the iceberg in time. Nowadays, with modern cruise ships, this chain of events would be highly unlikely to occur and end up with a direct collision with an iceberg, which is nothing more than a large block of freshwater ice that breaks off from a glacier and floats in the ocean, with most of its mass remaining submerged. That's because nowadays ships use a combination of advanced systems to navigate much more safely, even if you can barely see outside. One of these systems is the Electronic Shared Display and Information System, which is a computerized navigation system for ships. It serves as a legal alternative to paper nautical charts, displaying electronic nautical charts along with real-time position and movement data from various sources. It combines real-time positioning data from navigation sensors, like Global Positioning System, gyroscope, and radar, with official electronic nautical charts to show the ship's position in real time on a digital chart. This allows the crew to see on a map where the ship is and what the terrain features are, both around and along the entire route the ship will travel. It also provides information about potential dangers, such as areas where there is a risk of the vessel running aground, information about nearby vessels, as well as the risk of potential collisions. It allows navigators to plan routes more efficiently and monitors the ship's position in relation to the planned route. It displays tides, weather, ice conditions, ship position, speed, heading, and sensor data like radar and automatic identification system, all on one screen. It's a true ultra-technological brain that makes navigation much safer and drastically reduces the possibility of another Titanic happening. But the crew doesn't rely solely on this system. They also rely on radar, visual references, radio updates, and paper navigation charts. Despite all this technology, if the crew encounters an iceberg just a few meters away, a likely scenario today, what happens then? The ship still has a good measure of evasion, which is its propulsion system, the so-called azimuth thrusters. They are much more agile than those on the Titanic and can turn 360 degrees much faster and more efficiently, allowing the ship to slow down much faster or turn completely in a much shorter period of time, avoiding a collision. In the case of the Titanic, it had 3 fixed propellers and a central movable rudder, which when deflected made the ship turn left or right. A much less efficient setup, especially for quick emergency maneuvers. In the case of the Titanic, it is estimated that the iceberg was spotted at a mere 200 to 400 meters away. From when the lookouts spotted the iceberg to the collision, about 30 to 37 seconds passed. Currently, an iceberg can be detected by high-resolution radars, sonars, and global positioning system navigation systems on board the ship. At about 27 kilometers away in some cases, more than 80 kilometers away. More than enough time for the crew to take action. But if even so, a modern vessel collides with a large iceberg and starts to sink, modern technology is also prepared for that scenario. Modern cruise ships are designed with double hulls and in some cases even triple hulls, and they have a hull with reinforced watertight compartments. A collision with an iceberg would cause more localized damage, maybe 1 or 2 flooded compartments instead of the extensive tear that the Titanic suffered along its compartments. Modern steel is also of much higher quality and better than the steel and rivets used on the Titanic, which became brittle at temperatures near freezing, making it more resistant to catastrophic ruptures. And as a final layer of protection, unlike the Titanic, which didn't have enough lifeboats for everyone, currently, it is required by law that ships have enclosed lifeboats and/or rafts for 125% of the total capacity of passengers and crew on board. In other words, there are enough lifeboats for everyone, and they can be seen on all cruise ships. These are those orange vessels fixed on the outside and ready to be used at any moment. To give you an idea, the Icon of the Seas has 17 to 18 large lifeboats each, with a capacity for up to 450 people. This totals a capacity of almost 8,000 people in all the lifeboats. In addition, the ship has inflatable lifeboats for passengers and crew. They inflate in about 90 seconds.